Well, greetings, everyone. This is JP Maroney, aka Mr. Monetizer, and if you're joining us late, you're joining us on time because we're just getting started. This is our workshop on speaking for associations, how to break in and make money fast. I am a big believer that if you're going to do anything when you're trying to head to the money, is pick the shortest path and get there quickly. And so I don't take this time lightly. I hope that you value it as much as I do, and that you have anticipated and looked forward to this as much as I have. I have never shared what I'm going to be sharing with you outside of my big ticket coaching program, Speaker Formula Coaching Program, which people pay $10,000 and above. In fact, we have Elite Inner Circle for $25,000 per person, a year-long program. But let me tell you what, you're in for a treat. So we're getting started a little bit late, a couple of minutes late here. I'm going to jump right into the content and want to share with you what I have to give you tonight. Get your pen, get it ready, and get ready to take some notes, because studying with me is kind of like drinking from a fire hydrant. It has been said that once the mind of man is expanded to the dimension of new thought, it never retracts to its original size or shape. One more time. Once the mind of man is expanded to the dimension of new thought, it never retracts to its original size or shape. So for the next approximately 50 minutes, I'm going to expand your mind, let it retract, expand your mind, let it retract, so that when you get off this workshop, you will be a changed and better human being. You'll be more equipped to go out and make money in the speaking business. Now, I'd love to know, and you guys can put it in your question box. Obviously, most of you have figured out where your question box is. I'd love for you to just type in there. I don't have any fancy schmancy polls tonight. I'd love for you to type in there, I'm already in the paid speaking business, or I haven't gotten paid to speak yet. I'd love for you to type that in just to kind of talk to me and let me know where you are. If you're in the paid, have already been in the paid speaking business, put it in there. If you are still trying to figure out how to get paid, okay, cool. So we got a mix, still full-time job, haven't been paid yet, already paid, haven't, cool. So I've got some professional speakers for many years. All right, cool. Not paid yet, teach college, trying to figure it out. Great. Okay, the check's in the mail. Jim, good. I'll give you my address before we get off this workshop. Okay, so here's the deal. I will expand your mind. If you are a paid speaker, if you have ever been booked and gotten a check to be paid to speak, then you will like what I'm about to teach you, because you're ready to crank up the machine and take it into high gear. I was already paid to speak, and I'm going to share that story when I learned this model and learned how to break into the association market. I had not been paid very much, and I'll talk to you about that. If you have never been paid before, then pay attention to every step of this process, because the association market is absolutely the fastest place to ramp up your speaking business and get out there and start making money fast. When I met my mentor in the speaking business, he shared a quote with me. This quote had been shared to him by his mentor, who was actually a Navy officer when he was just a young pup in the Navy back in Vietnam. They were offshore, and he was on a wooden minesweeper ship, whatever that means. But anyway, he shared that with him. My mentor shared it with me within 5 minutes of meeting him face to face. And he said this, and I'm going to share it with you. You should never, ever forget this. It's a formula for success in life. If you want to be a master at anything, study what the masters have done before you. Learn to do what they have done. Have the courage to do it, and you can be a master just like them. One more time. If you want to be a master at anything, in this particular case, a master at getting booked and getting paid to speak and making a lot of money. I'm going to share with you some of the keys to it tonight. It's not just about fees. There is so much money to be made in the association industry, well beyond just the whole idea of fees. But study what the masters have done before you. When I met my mentor, I was hungry. I was ready for a teacher. I was ready for someone to teach me how to do it. Learn to do what they have done and have the courage to do it, and you can be a master just like them. But the courage, the guts, be willing to do something. I have found that successful people have formed the habit of doing what failures dislike doing and therefore will not do. One more time, successful people have formed the habit of doing what failures dislike doing and therefore will not do. You are in for a treat, because you're about to learn step by step what it really takes to break into a lucrative but an extremely misunderstood speaking market. And I'm going to tell you, I beat my freaking head against the wall, and I'm sorry if that word bothers you. I got an email somebody who sent me. Those of you who've been on my list for a while, I sent that email out about the friggin' bee that stung me the other day, and somebody emailed me about that. Well, I hope that word doesn't offend you too much. But anyway, this market is so misunderstood, and I beat my head against the wall trying to figure this out early on until I learned the magic formula, and there truly is a magic formula for getting booked in this industry. Now, and that is speaking for associations. So let me give you this workshop agenda. I'm going to put all of the little bullets up here and give you exactly what we're going to cover in this workshop so you know what to expect. I'm going to first teach you the fastest way to get to association executives. If you've never been on my workshops, I'm not one of those kind of guys that strings you along for an hour with the good stuff, hoping that you'll stick around to get it at the end. I actually am going to give you this up front. This is going to change your life forever. 99.9% of the speakers out there do not know this, and the few that ever heard it or learned it don't apply it. It's the most brilliant idea that when executed with the right strategy and the right tactics in place will get you booked. And I'm going to teach you that right up front. I'm not going to make you wait for it. The fastest way to get to association executives. Next, I'm going to give you insider knowledge on how they think and why they hire speakers. I have done hundreds of engagements for the association industry, thousands, I guess now really, but I'll be safe and say hundreds and hundreds of association speaking gigs from the local chapter where there's 40 people in the room all the way up to national keynotes where there's thousands of people in the room, all right, at an opening keynote or closing keynote or a luncheon keynote address. I have met with them privately many times. I've interviewed them over the phone. For my insider coaching program, I did some interviews and recorded them, and I am really, really dialed into what these association executives are thinking. So we'll talk about that. I'm going to talk to you about what to say to make them hire you. There are some power phrases that you need to learn. How about I pay you off with one of those right now and let you have this? This is a phrase that will change your life. What is the next engagement for which you have not already booked your speaker? I hope you wrote that down. Magic phrase. Okay, and I'm going to give you some power phrases throughout this presentation. We're going to talk about how to turn every association speaking engagement into 2 to 3 additional bookings. We're going to talk about the secret to booking an entire speaking calendar, a year of gigs just from one speech. There is a secret to that, and I'll teach you on this workshop what that is. I'm going to also share with you where the real money, the big money in the association market is. And then finally, I'm going to share with you how to cheat, okay? I saw on a headline the other day on the front of an Inquirer or something that said, caught cheating. Well, they weren't talking about this kind of cheating. But I'm going to show you how to cheat and skip all the way to the head of the line and avoid any of the pain and frustration like I did of beating your head against the wall. And the way I'm going to do that is by making an offer to you at the end to go through some additional training with me by exchanging dollars for the training. And that means I am going to make an offer. Wow, I bet you didn't know that was going to come. But here's the deal. My promise, and if you haven't been on my workshops, my promise to you is that this will be something you'll never, ever forget. You will learn lots of stuff, and it will be over-the-top information that you'll never, ever be the same again. So I want you to really enjoy it. And then at the end, if you decide we should do business together and that my offer makes sense to you, I want you to feel obligated to yourself to take that step and buy the training. By the way, Scott Jordan, welcome. Scott is, I don't know if Scott's a fan or a heckler because he gives me energy and he gives me a hard time. Scott, welcome to the training. And I think I just saw Scott's name fly across. Yeah, a fan. Okay, good, Scott. Okay, he's bought some of my programs, but I'm just joking. All right, so as I promised, I would teach you the fastest way to get to association executives. Let me first tell you or teach you what most speakers do. You may be one of those speakers, okay? So, and if you haven't been getting as many bookings or haven't been getting booked at all, and you're wondering why, this is why. So this is what most speakers do. By the way, hint, this is what I did in the beginning, and it didn't work. Eddie, good question. An association. All right, I assume some stuff sometimes. An association, Eddie, and for those of you that are wondering, is a trade group or an organization that has members from within their industry. So, for example, you might have the Air Conditioning Contractors of America. All the air conditioning contractors that are worth their salt belong to that organization, and they attend meetings together. They get materials from them. They get to go to special trainings, and that organization goes to bat for them in Washington and lobbies for them, etc. So, and you have associations around the world. They're international associations. Pretty much almost every association in the U.S. is duplicated in Canada for sure. So we'll go deeper into that. But basically, it's where the winners hang out. And it is absolutely the fastest place to get booked. And this is no secret. Wannabe speaker coaches have been saying this crap for years. The problem is most of them don't know how to execute. They teach everybody to do what I'm showing you here on the screen. And George says, hey, have you been in my office lately? I'm assuming, George, that you mean that I hit you between the eyes with this. Because here's what most speakers do. They sit at home. They mail out promo packs. They fax or email one-sheets. I'll explain what that is. They expect associations just fall all over themselves considering hiring them to speak at their next meeting because, my gosh, they have the greatest topic and everybody should hear that topic. And then even worse, a few speakers sit around waiting for the Speakers Bureau to do all of this stuff, okay, for them. And so they think that a Speakers Bureau is going to come along, discover them, scoop them up, and go and market them to the world of meeting planners and association executives. I got news. It doesn't work this way. I've tried it. There is a reason why most speakers in the National freaking Speakers Association can't quit their jobs and go full-time as speakers is because they're doing what I'm talking about here. They're sitting at home, dialing for dollars, trying to cold call and network and get some more contacts and buy a list and on and on and on and mail out their brochures and mail out their promo packs and their videos, etc., 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 etc. In the old days, we faxed our one-sheets. Now we email one-sheets. Sending them to their websites, I guess, could be the next thing. And then there's like some stuff in between the lines that wannabe speakers do that makes them feel as though they're being productive when really all they are is busy. And that is they're working on their website, they're working on their speech topic, they're writing articles, they're doing research on the industry, working on their book because someone told them if you get a book someday, you can get a best-selling book, you'll get hired and booked to speak, okay? I don't mean to be hard on you if you're this person because I was this person, all right? And I'm going to tell you that story in just a few minutes, but I want to really, really focus in on this. Now, here's the problem with that plan. Let me put these bullets up here for you. The first problem with this plan of sitting at home and blasting the world with your stuff is that, association executives are busy. They have a lot of other responsibilities other than just booking speakers for their meetings. Now, in some associations, you have a meeting planner, and that person's ultimate job is to make sure the meetings go smoothly, etc. But booking the speakers is a micro part even of their job. What you have is got to get the hotel, got to get sponsors, got to get exhibitors, got to make sure the rooms are set up properly, and on and on and on and on. There are a massive list of items that they have to take care of. The chart that they have on their wall that they're trying to fill up with speakers for that meeting is only a very, very small part of it, okay, of their responsibilities. So they have a lot of other stuff. The other problem is that there is no sense of urgency. So if you sit at home and send out your stuff to a meeting planner, what is there in their face every day giving them that sense of urgency to look at your stuff? There's not any. Now, I'm going to tell you the dirty little secret because I've been in gobs and gobs of association executives' offices. and I'm going to tell you the real dirty secret in just a moment. The third thing is that you're grouped with a stack of other promo packs and get lost in the pile. Now, I have been in their offices. If you are one of these wannabe speakers, or you are a successful speaker, in your own right, and yet you've been challenged in trying to break into this market, when I go into their offices, I see stuff from people like you piled up in the corner. In fact, in the old days when we had VHS tapes for demo tapes for speakers, the meeting planners would put tape over them and take them home and record Days of Our Lives over it. They'd use the demo tapes for extra VHS tapes. The deal is, you go in their offices and you'll see promo packs still in the shrink wrap sitting over in the corner. They don't have time, okay? They don't have time to get to all those materials. And so how do they make a decision? We'll talk about that in a little bit. Next, you don't have a chance to sell yourself, including finding out what they really want. Think about the VHS. Charlie, VHS is video, whatever that, video. Don't you do that to me. Charlie, see, I'm a sincere, serious guy. I'm trying to help you here. Don't give me a hard time. All right, for those of you that don't know, a VHS is one of those brick-looking things that we used to watch movies on. Okay. All right, Charlie, you messed me up now. Everybody's going to I'm going to give out your last name in a minute. But anyway, but you don't have a chance to sell yourself. If you understand true selling, it's this. Find out what people want and then help them get it, okay? Well, unless you have a chance to really talk to a meeting executive, you don't know what their hot topics are. You don't know what they're looking for. You don't know what their members' problems and challenges and frustrations are and all that. And so it is critical that you find out what meeting planners want before you try to sell it to them. And so you can't do that sitting at home sending your stuff out to them. And finally, I got news for you. That's not how meeting planners discover and hire speakers. You want the hierarchy of getting hired? Would you like to really, really know the inner circle hierarchy of getting hired and booked by speakers, by meeting planners? Let's start at the top. The number one way that a meeting planner wants to find a speaker is they personally sat in an audience, heard them speak, and were amazed. That's number one. If that happens, you're in, okay? Now, how do you get yourself in front of them? There are a lot of different ways. We can talk about that. Number two, they have a friend that they trust intimately to tell them that this speaker is good. And that friend has sat in the audience and heard that speaker. And that friend could be a member of their board of directors. That friend could be one of their fellow association executives within their association, and one of their fellow peers in another association. It could be a lot of different things, but it's someone that they trust says, hey, I was at this meeting and this speaker was up and he or she was amazing. You got to get them at your next meeting. So that's the second level that they find speakers. The third level is that they've had some sort of interaction. They may not have heard that speaker speak, but they've had some sort of interaction, maybe a book signing, or it met that speaker in person, and that person had a chance to position themselves appropriately, do some trust and bonding with them, and then present an opportunity to come and speak for their organization. And then it goes down after there. Speakers Bureau sending out videos, rare opportunity. I mean, what happens with that is that speakers bureaus, number one, they're kind of like banks. You know how banks don't want to loan you money until you don't need it, right? The only time banks want to loan you money is when you don't need it. Well, speakers bureaus only want to market you to speak when you don't need somebody to market you to speak. You're already famous, successful, and getting so many spin-off bookings that you no longer need them. Then they're more than happy to come in and help you get more bookings. Well, duh, they want the easy route. And so forget that route right now. You need to learn how to go straight to the source and get booked to speak, okay? So you want to know what to do? You want to know the secret? Here's the secret. Go see them. All right, I told you that I would teach you the #1 fastest way to get to association executives. Here's the secret. Go see them. Now, when my mentor shared this with me, I was dumbfounded. I'd been selling for years. I'd been in the magazine publishing business and sold advertising for our magazines and all that kind of stuff. And I was so frustrated with sending stuff out and not getting any bookings. The only thing I could do was get booked like chambers of commerce and local companies doing a little training here, piddly thing there. And I never could get the real meat, the real money. And so when he turned me on to this and then laid out the whole plan for me of exactly how it works step by step, the lights came on. I want to tell you, think about this. A meeting planner is sitting in their office. They're busy. They have a lot on their plate. They have all sorts of obligations. They're worried about the next meeting. They're preparing for a board meeting. They're fielding calls from people. And here you are at home sending out your one sheet and sending out your video and trying to cold call them and get on the phone and get them to book you to speak. What sort of chance do you think you have against me when at 10 o'clock I'm going to be in their office sitting face to face at their conference table or at their desk with my materials in hand, with a copy of my latest product or my latest book, autographing it for them, taking pictures with them and their staff, being the celebrity that I am within that niche, and sharing with them the latest presentation and the feedback and what we're accomplishing for people? What do you think your odds are of competing against me? Not very good, right? Okay, so here's the critical key. Go and see them. So I paid you off with that, and I want to talk to you about, in the rest of this presentation, the speaker blitz and blitzing the association market and what that really means. Let me give it to you in a little snapshot or a nutshell. The speaker blitz is this. You go to where the association executives hang out. In every state, there is a city where 95% of the associations in that state reside. Your mission, your goal of the Speaker Blitz is to go to that city. In advance, you book appointments over a 3 to 4 day period of time or a 2 to 3 day period of time. My first Blitz was 2.5 days. I'll tell you about that and how it turned out. 2.5 days, 3 days, you meet back to back with association executives. You will walk away from there with bookings, either that day or within a few days or weeks from those appointments. You will get booked to speak. And there's a caveat. Provided you know the questions to ask, provided you prepare them in advance, and provided you have all of your speaking stuff in place. And we'll talk about that. I'm going to give you a list of all of that before we get through so that you can understand what you need to have in place and how to get started very, very quickly in this so that you could be doing it within the next 30 days. For example, I'd love for all of you to sort of get your little calendar out right now and put, let's see, let me look at my iPhone real quick here and see when this would be. We're in November. December is screaming towards us. January, the first week of January is the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, somewhere in there. Okay? I would love for you to, on a piece of paper, right now, just write down, I will do my first Speaker Blitz between January 5th and January 14th, and I will get booked to speak. I will do my first Speaker Blitz between January 5th and January 14th, and I will get booked to speak. All right? You say, well, I don't have all the pieces in place. I'll show you how to do that, okay? Let's just get down to the nitty-gritty, and let me share with you. So I want to back up just a little bit and give you the shocking truth of how I learned this the hard way, okay? Let me give you a little bit of background for those of you that don't know my story. And I don't want to spend a whole lot of time talking about me, but I think you need to understand the perspective and the frame of mind I was in so that you can really understand how you can apply this yourself. In 1999, my wife and I were in the magazine publishing business. We were publishing magazines for the 50-plus crowd. I had joined Toastmasters about 4 years before that, had started speaking around at clubs and organizations, and my magazine was for people 50 and above. And I used to go out and give a speech called Gray Hair Everywhere, How to Profit from the 50-Plus Market. And it was not a pitch thing like how to advertise in my magazine. I was introduced as the publisher of this magazine for people 50 and above, and then I would get up and talk about how amazing and lucrative this market was and how another baby boomer turned 50 every 7.5 seconds and blah, 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 and talked about the money and the transfer of wealth from the elder generation to the baby boomers and what an opportunity it was for you to market and sell to that market. Well, gee, what happened? At the end of those presentations, people would come up to me afterwards and say, hey, JP, that magazine that you publish, it's for the 50-plus market. What could we do to get, promoted in that magazine? Boom, and I would sell advertising every single time. Well, when we sold the magazines in 1999, I was a young fellow. I was 29 years old, and actually I was 28 years old, coming up on 29. And my wife said, you're too young to retire. What are you going to do now? And I sat around clipping coupons for about 2 weeks, and that just drove me nuts. And so I said, I've always wanted to write books and speak. She said, I think you should go do that. She was ready for me to get my brain wrapped around something else exciting, because in the magazine, we were full tilt. I loved it. We did very well in that business. So I hung out my shingle as a speaker, thinking to myself, and perhaps you've thought this too at some point in your life, thinking to myself that, hey, all I got to do is take all these successes that I've had in business, apply those same skills, go out and market myself, and I'll get booked to speak. Well, big problem. Booking yourself as a speaker and selling anything else, I don't care what, is totally different, okay? You cannot sell speaking the same way that the same way that you sell anything else. It's unlike anything you've ever experienced before. So I sat there beating my head against the wall for 6 months. During that time, I sold $2,400 in speeches. By the way, that's not a good thing. That's a bad thing. We were used to a pretty high standard of living. We weren't filthy, stinking rich, but we had built a comfortable life for ourselves in the magazine publishing business. And so our burn rate was pretty good. Well, with no income, save the $2,400 that I made on speaking, and trust me, I spent a whole lot more than that buying courses and attending seminars and stuff and beating my head against the wall. I was burning through our cash, and I know some of you have retirements and some of you have savings and you've attended stuff and you've bought stuff, and I know you can relate to this. Well, I was in that position. I was hungry. I needed an answer, and so I would go to meetings every single month with the National Speakers Association local chapters, and I would buy stuff, and then I'd hear about other people's training programs, and I'd buy that, and every single one of them seemed to give me a little bitsy piece of it, but the magic piece I was looking for was, okay, I know I need product. I know I need to write a book someday. I know that, I need a one sheet. I know I need all that. I've got these pieces to the pie. Tell me how to go and get a freaking speech sold. Because if I don't sell a speech, we're not going to eat much longer. And if I don't start eating and making money, I'm going to have to go find something else to do. I mean, I was literally talking to a friend of mine who was in the mobile home industry about going and selling mobile homes, because he had told me that him and his buddies were making between $7,000 and $12,000 a week selling mobile homes. And I thought, hey, that'll be pretty neat. We could make some money doing that. So, and I was interested in, if that worked out, opening my own mobile home lot. Can you imagine that? I mean, those of you that know me now, I don't think that would have fit me, but I was hungry and serious, but I didn't know what to do. And so I kept buying the stuff, kept trying stuff, and kept beating my head, and I would dial for dollars, dial for dollars, dial for dollars, dial for dollars, over and over and over, thinking that that was going to solve it, and it just did not solve it. Well, here's the deal. At a last-ditch effort, I had met the president of the local chapter or regional chapter or whatever of National Speakers Association. I called him one day and I said, John, I want to take you out for lunch. He said, sure. So we went to a little Thai restaurant called Thai Orchid up in Addison, Texas. Any of you know where that is, over off Midway and whatever that road is, I don't know what the name of the road is that runs through Addison. But anyway, we went and had lunch. We sat there and I said, okay, dude, I've built my entire business success in the past by having mentors, some paid, some not paid. They just took me on and taught me the way to go. But I had, hired coaches and trainers and been to programs and bought everything I could buy from Zig Ziglar and Brian Tracy and all those kind of guys. And I always invested in myself. But I said, here's what I want. You give me the names of the 5 biggest speakers who've really, really made it, who've really, truly proven it, not people who say they've done it. They've really done it. And I want to go talk to these guys. So he gave me 5 names, and I started calling these people. One of the guys got on the phone, and I'll give you a little secret. I've never taught this outside of my training, but I'll give you a little secret. This one guy gave me a neat tip. It didn't help me go get paid bookings, but he said, JP, in the early days, speak anywhere for anybody at any price, anywhere for anywhere, anybody, any price, and be willing to do that as long as necessary until you build your business. And that did work. I did start, going and taking the freebie speeches and then learning how to leverage them up once I met my mentor and learned how to sell speaking engagements. But that was a nice piece of information. But one guy returned my phone call and said, hey, we're in our motorhome. We're up in Canada. We're traveling. We'll be on vacation for a couple of weeks. But when I get back to town, let's get together for lunch. And he said, I'll sit down and talk to you. And he said, bring your tape recorder and boy, I'm dating myself. Bring your tape recorder and bring a notepad. And I don't want you to waste my time. And bring all your questions written down in advance on a notepad. And so we met at a little place called Chez Bazin. It's a little French bakery here in Tyler. And, by chance, is this weird or what? By chance, Providence, fate, destiny, whatever you want. He had semi-retired and moved to East Texas and lived, literally his new house that they had just bought was about 20 minutes from our house. And so anyway, we met at this Chez Bazin, and he said, we sat down, and I started sharing with him where I had come over the last 6 months and what my experience was. And he sat back and he said, oh my God, you don't have to say any more. I feel the frustration. He said, you're me 30 years ago. And he was in his 60s, like 60, 61. I was almost 30. And he said, you're me. You got the drive. You got the ambition. You got the passion. You got the message. You just need somebody to turn on the tap and teach you how to sell this stuff and go market it. And I was like, thank you, Jesus, and if you don't believe in God, just ignore that. But I was grateful, okay, that I'd finally found someone who could just flip that switch and show me what to do. He said, okay, here's the deal. I'll be your mentor. And he said, I'm going to teach you everything I know about the speaking business and how to get booked and make money fast. And we ate lunch. We enjoyed our lunch, had some iced tea, little sandwiches, frou-frou sandwiches in the French bakery. And he said, what I want you to do is when you have some time, I want you to come by. Yeah, sweet tea, Charlie. I want you to come by my house, and I've got some materials I'd like to send you home with, some videos and audio cassettes and some printed materials. I want you to take that stuff home, study it, read it, watch it, make notes, extrapolate what you can, and then we'll get back together after that. So we ate our lunch, finished. I paid the tab, tipped the waitress, and we got up to leave, and he started out to his car, and I was following him, like right behind him. And he turned around, and he kind of looked at me, and he said, so we'll get back together? And I said, yeah, but you said that you had some stuff at your house. And he said, you want it now? I said, yeah, I'm serious. I either got to sell a speech or go get a job or do something. I can't continue the path I'm on. It was too painful. It was too frustrating. And he said, oh my God, you are me 30 years ago. Well, this was a couple of hours afternoon. And so I hopped in my car, he hopped in his, and I followed him out to his house. And he was kind of a little short guy, and he was running around his garage. They weren't even unpacked. And he's running around his garage in a bunch of boxes that had his business stuff in there. And he said, you need this, you need this, you need this, you need this. And he grabbed a box and he started throwing all this stuff in it and said, you need this, you need this. And he shoves this box in my chest and he says, go home. It's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. He said, go home, Read everything, watch everything, listen to everything. And when you have, and write down your thoughts and your observations. When you've done all of this and you're ready to go to the next step, call me. We'll get back together and I'll take you to the next step. Guys, it was 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I went home that day, and at 7 o'clock the next day I called him. And I said, I'm ready. 7 o'clock the next morning. And he said, who's this? I said, it's JP Maroney. He said, son, you don't understand. I told you go home. I'm excited about your ambition, but I told you study everything, read everything, watch everything, go through all that stuff, then let's get back together, okay? And I said, no, you don't understand. I haven't been to bed. And I had literally gone home and at 3 o'clock in the afternoon sat down in the middle of my living room and spread this stuff out on my living room floor because one thing, I was hungry. I was ready to find out the secret. I wanted to know what it really took. And I finally met the genuine article, somebody that could teach me how to get booked and make money fast in the speaking business. And he said, my God. And he said, let's get together. So we got together that morning for breakfast at a little Greasy Spoon. It's called the Blue Store in Noonday. If you're ever in Tyler, Texas area, you can go to the Blue Store. They have breakfast and they have hamburgers and all kinds of stuff, and they sell raw meat. And it's just a little convenience store, gas station thing, and they have about 6 tables. And we sat down, and at that moment, my life changed forever. And he revealed to me what I'm revealing to you on this call, that you don't get booked to speak in the speaking industry, in the association industry, by sitting at home and sending out your stuff and Hail Mary passing your promo pack to association executives. It does not work. You got to get out there and go meet with them face to face with a set appointment, with the right set of questions, with the right amount of information about their organization, and then you have to have all the pieces to your speaking business in place to be booked. But that's the secret, the magic piece that I was missing. I had the other stuff. I was ready to go. And you know, when people come into my speaker formula, and I'm not pitching speaker formula tonight, you can just kind of rest easy. It's by application only. It's a high-end coaching program. But when I work with my speaker formula students, that's one of the first things I tell them. I say, guys, don't expect to have the kind of success that I did as fast as I did unless you have all of this other stuff in place. I had a one sheet. That's one of the things I'd been studying. You know, I'd bought all these courses. I had a video. I had hired somebody to video me speaking at a chamber of commerce. I had done all of this stuff, and yet I didn't have the little, key to turn the switch, to start the engine and actually create the success. Well, here's what happened. He taught me this method, what I call a speaker blitz. And literally, guys, after selling $2,400 worth of speeches in my first 6 months, 2 weeks later, after I met my mentor, I went and did my first blitz. And in 2.5 days, I booked $12,500 worth of speeches with people who had never, ever heard me speak before, and that literally launched my speaking career. And you say, well, how does that happen? Well, I'm going to explain that to you in just a moment about how I take each engagement and turn it into multiple engagements. If you can ever get launched, ever get started, you can turn on the tap so fast in this industry. And, that was back when my fee was very low. I remember when I first met him, that first day that we sat down at Chez Bazan, and he said, what's your fee? And I said, well, the most I've ever charged is $1,000. And he said, why? I said, well, somebody told me that I could never charge more than $1,000 a speech unless I had a best-selling book. He said, what idiot told you that? And it was a well-meaning member of my Toastmasters club who was a DTM, whatever that is, with the letters after her name, and she worked for a university, and they brought speakers in from time to time. Well, they brought in marquee speakers, and they paid them big, huge fees. She had some belief, apparently she got from someone else at some point, that said you can never charge more than $1,000 for a speech unless you have a best-selling book. So she shared that with me, and guess what? I believed her. It's a myth. It's a myth. He said, well, JP, nobody wants to hire a cheap speaker, okay? So we're going to raise your fee today. We immediately raised my fee to $2,500. That was, I thought that was just an extraordinary amount of money to get paid for getting up and talking for an hour or so. Today, that's it's a lot less than what I charge. But let me let you understand this. When I did that first speaker blitz, I booked 5 engagements out of that first blitz. 2.5 days worth of effort, booked 5 engagements at $2,500 each. One of those was a national keynote address for a national association in Las Vegas. I did the closing keynote address. I spoke for 50 minutes, 50. They paid all my expenses, $2,500. We were in Vegas for 4 days. I took my family with me. All food, everything was covered, limos and transfers and all that kind of stuff. Everything, per diem, everything. But would you like to know what the kicker for that was? I stood on stage for 50 minutes, spoke, poured my heart into it, gave an amazing keynote address, and at the end, I sold $32,000 worth of training products. So I got paid, and I didn't give anybody any of that, okay? For those speakers, and I do this sometimes, for those speakers who speak at meetings where you're having to split your product sales with the seminar organizer, in the association industry, I've never had to do that unless I did an endorsement deal. And I'll talk about that in just a minute when I talk about where the big money is in the association industry. But I spoke, got $2,500, all expenses paid, an amazing trip to Vegas, and sold $32,000 worth of product from the stage, and literally stood in line for almost an hour signing autographs and meeting people and giving away my freebies and posters and stuff that I give away from the platform. So let's talk about, for you, why associations? Why should you care? Obviously, if you got on this training workshop, you understood at least that or believed me that, or Daniel Hall, I think Daniel Hall promoted this, that this was a good industry. Or maybe you've been booked for associations and you'd like to get a lot more of them. But why associations? Let me go over that. Number one, there are a lot of them, okay? There are a lot of associations. Next, they have more meetings than any other group. If you look at an association, they will let's take a national association. They'll typically have 1 to 3 national conferences, meetings, summits, seminars, etc. They have seminars around the country, many of them, regional meetings. Some of them will have leadership meetings where like the boards of directors from all the chapters and stuff show up to come to a meeting and get training, and on and on and on. If you go to any of these meetings, you will realize that they use lots and lots and lots of speakers. So if you take a typical 3 or 4 day conference for an association, they might go like 4 to 6 speakers wide during concurrent sessions, do that 2 or 3 times in the morning, 2 or 3 times in the afternoon, and go for that schedule for 3 to 4 days, plus keynote speakers, luncheon speakers, closing keynote speakers, and on and on and on. The next thing about associations is they have a budget. Someone put in there a few moments ago, earlier said, I hear that associations are struggling and cutting down on their budgets. There is no question about the meeting industry being impacted, ever since 9/11, really. But the meeting industry being impacted. But I can show you ways to not only get your fee, but get your fee plus product sales, plus all sorts of spin-off additional things that will benefit you. And at the end of the day, if I just got my expenses paid to go there and got in front of the decision makers that you can get in front of at an association meeting, it would be well worth it, because from that you can completely launch your business into the stratosphere. Next, they hire more speakers than any other group. When you speak there, you're speaking in front of decision makers. Okay, so here's the kind of people that are at these meetings. Number one, the owners and leaders and executives and managers of companies go to the association meetings, right? They're the representatives from their respective companies. They go back, they have corporate training, corporate retreats. They're also on the board of their local chapter, their regional chapter, their state chapter. So every time you're speaking at an association meeting, you're in front of decision makers who can hire you for additional engagements. Think about who else is there. The association executives from the state, the region, the local chapters are at these meetings. They're in leadership meetings. They're in the general sessions. They go to many of the training sessions and breakouts, especially if they've gotten a hint that one of the speakers is really good. They will come and check you out. It's a perfect place to showcase yourself and get in front of the right people, which means you're going to get a lot of spin-off engagements. Okay? If you go and speak at a national conference, if you are good, you can pretty much count on 30 to 40 additional speaking engagements over the next 12 to 24 months. Why? Because meeting planners for association executives and corporate people that have retreats and banquets and all that other kind of stuff have to have speakers. There's two sides of the speaker equation. One of them is that you can't sell a speaker to people who don't hire speakers, right? So don't try. That's one of the biggest mistakes people make. But the second part of that is that people who hire speakers have a gaping hole in their schedule, and they got to fill it with somebody. They want to fill it with somebody that they can trust to get up in front of that audience and do an amazing job and make them look like a genius for hiring you. And so if they see you at a national or a state conference, they're going to, and you do good, you do what you're supposed to do, you will get booked in other places. I'll give you an example. I spoke, and I'll show you the progression of this, how this works, but I spoke for the Tyler Apartment Association when I was very first getting started in the speaking business. Had a guy come out and video that and everything. Well, from that, when I did I think it was the second Blitz, I got booked for the Texas Apartment Association, state level. And it wasn't even a general session. It was a breakout session. And I don't know, room probably 300 people, something like that. Not a huge, massive audience. Well, it just so happened that, you know how they have somebody go to each room to introduce you. Sometimes it's members of the association, sometimes it's staff members, etc. Well, it just so happened the person assigned to my room to introduce me was the National Education Director for the National Apartment Association, NAA. So she came in, she was just going to introduce me and then leave and then come back and close out the session whenever I finished, do the housekeeping kind of stuff of getting people out of the room. Well, she introduced me, started listening to me open my presentation, and decided to stay. And at the end of the presentation, she came up and she just kind of nonchalantly gave me her card and said, "We'd like to talk to you about coming and speaking at the national level." Well, a few days later, I get an email from her, and she said, I mean, it was a testimonial. You can probably find it on my website somewhere. But she basically said, JP, at a 3:15 time slot in the middle of the afternoon in a concurrent session, you captivated the audience. You kept them engaged. You spoke our language. Okay, I did what you're supposed to do as a world-class speaker, which is what I teach other speakers how to do these days. Become a world-class, unique speaker that's unlike anyone else out there in the marketplace. And so she said, we definitely want you at the national level. Well, they didn't have any more money left in their budget for that upcoming conference, but as soon as they finished that upcoming conference, they were booking for the next one, and like 10, 11 months in advance, she booked us to go to Orlando, Florida. And speak down there. I did 2 sessions for them in Orlando, Florida at full fee, plus product sales, plus all expenses paid. We got them to throw in some extra days of hotel at the Gaylord Orlando Hotel there, whatever that one is. It's not the Opryland, that's in Nashville, but the Gaylord Orlando Hotel. A few days, we ended up spending 3 or 4 days there, and then went to Disney and spent, as a family, spent another 7, 8 days, whatever it was, at Disney. We were there, I don't know, 12, 14 days total, and had a blast and sold product. But then the magic started happening. I started getting calls from corporations that were represented in the audience, other associations represented in the audience, big organizations, and they wanted me to come and speak for them. And guess what? There was no selling. Remember what I said. The number one way they hire speakers is to see them. That's their preference. Because if they see you and they know you're good, then they can trust you. Okay? And so my calendar began to fill up with those engagements. So when you speak in front of an association audience, your opportunity for spin-off engagements is huge. Next, you can sell a ton of product. I've heard people say you can't sell in an association meeting. That's baloney. I always clear it with my meeting planner, and I do it in a very tactful way. And if we had more time, I'll give you the whole scripting. But the basic idea is I'm not going to offend anyone, and I'm not going to make them look bad, and I'm not going to make anyone else feel bad. But here's the deal. If you are good, people will buy your stuff. You don't have to spend 50 minutes pitching them. If you're good, people will buy your stuff. And let me tell you this, if you get up in front of an audience and you share something with them that gives them hope and gives them a reason to move forward, and that gives them some new skill or some new plan or some new strategy, and then you do not give them an opportunity to continue their education with you, you have done them a disservice. And I believe that, and that's why I sell so much product like that. So speaking from the stage and selling from the stage can happen in an association meeting. And finally, you have a good shot at repeat bookings. Why? Because they have more meetings every year. And part of that is splintering off your topics or developing additional topics or having multiple topics. But again, if you are good. And you guys have tons of questions. I see all the questions coming in. I will do my best to get to all your questions here in just a little bit, but I want to get through all of our curriculum for this workshop. Let me help you understand what makes them tick and get you inside the mind of an association executive. And I appreciate you guys, all of the awesome feedback that you're giving me as we're going through this. I get energy from that, so thank you. Now, first, they don't get paid an awful lot. It's pretty much a thankless job. Association executives do the work of CEOs, but they make a fraction of the pay of a CEO. And so if you understand that going into it, the mindset of it going into it, then you can have a special appreciation for them. And let me tell you what, whatever you want other people to think and feel about you, you must be thinking and feeling it first. So if you feel that way about them and have empathy toward them and care and respect them, guess what? You have a real chance of bonding with them. Next, they want to maximize attendance at their meetings. I see a typo, sorry about that. They want to maximize attendance at their meetings. If you understand that, then you will develop topics that fill rooms, right? Never ever try to sell something people don't already want to buy, okay? Next, they want to keep their members. Shocker, they want to keep their members. So guess what? If you go and do a really sorry job, their members begin to doubt their investment in the organization. On the alternative, if you go and do an amazing job and then you do all sorts of value-added things, and we do all kinds of cool stuff on the value-added side for those members to help them experience that training even better and enjoy it more and all that, guess what happens? The members go, wow, this is cool. And so you are aligned perfectly with the mission of that organization, one of their missions or goals, which is to keep their memberships. They want to increase their membership. So if you can give them a really hot topic and help them market to get more people to that conference, there's a good chance they'll sign some more people up for their organization. Next, they don't want to look bad, especially in front of their members or their peers. There is nothing like being an association executive sitting there watching a speaker crash and burn on the stage knowing you were the one that made the decision and feeling the sweat run down your back, as you stand there feeling the glare from your board of directors and your peers saying, where did you find this jerk? Okay? So that's why you have to market to them in a way that builds lots of trust and bonding with them. Next, they all sleep in the same nest. Okay? I call it nest prospecting. If you want to reach the association market, market to association executives. And guess what? The more you spend time with them and network with them and go meet with them, guess what happens? They will then talk to their other friends. They'll make phone calls for you. At their next association executive meeting, they'll say, hey, so-and-so spoke at my conference. They were amazing. Or, hey, I got this hot new speaker coming and speaking at my next retreat. You ought to check them out, right? And then finally, and this is the key, nobody ever goes to see them in person. Okay? It's a fairly lonely and thankless job. They're there in their offices working, doing the bidding, worrying about membership, worrying about attendance, worrying about their next meeting. Could you become a breath of fresh air for them? Could you be a sort of, in your own level, a celebrity coming to see them, autographing a product or a book for them, doing something special for them, following up with them, making them feel important, and yet spending a little bit of time in there bonding and building trust with them and asking them the right questions. And that is so critical, to ask the right questions to get that right information so that you can make the presentation to them. Now, here's why most speakers get it wrong. Number one, they don't really understand the massive demand for the market. If you came on this workshop understanding that, hey, JP said this is a great place to get booked and make money fast as a speaker, and you trusted me, I hope now you understand that you take every single career, every single industry, just about across the board, there is an association. Dry cleaners, there's an association. Plumbers, there's an association. Psychiatrists, there's an association. Plumbers, air conditioning people, there's an association. Bankers, there's an association. Credit union, apartment industry, keep going. Principals, counselors, school teachers, on and on and on. Every single one of them has an association. You have personal topics, personal development topics, or things that address individuals versus businesses. Trust me, there are associations out there with individuals getting together for meetings. And if you, I noticed somebody just put something in there and said my topic is cancer prevention and recovery. There are groups of people meeting right now with people that are your target or ideal market, not only as buyers of your stuff, but as influencers who could get you to the right markets. That's the key. You don't always look at it as just the end user buyer, but it could be people who could carry you and your message to an end user audience. So keep that in mind. The next is they're intimidated by the market because they don't understand it. I hope I've revealed and pulled back the blinders a little bit for you. Next, they aren't respectful of the schedule, the lifestyle, the workload of this group. Again, sitting at home, sending out stuff so that it can stack up in an association executive's office, and then getting on the phone and hammering away and calling them and leaving voicemail out of after voicemail after voicemail after voicemail until they get to where they hate you. Is not a way to build trust and bonding with this group of people. They sit at home and try to market, and in the end, it's either because they don't know how or because they're lazy. And you know what? I have found that, let me put up these points so that they can start refreshing. I have found that successful people are those who have formed the habit of doing what failures dislike doing and therefore will not do. Yeah, it could be a little uncomfortable. It could be a little different. It would be a little changed from what you've tried in the past, but I guarantee you, if you will go through this with me and learn this process and then take the tools that I can equip you with, you can literally put that on your calendar, and I hope you wrote that down as a commitment to yourself, that between January 5th and January 14th of 2011, I'll conduct my first speaker blitz. I hope you did it. Here's what you need in place before you get to that point. Number one, you need a hot topic. You need a topic that people are interested in buying. In the Speaker Formula program, as well as some of my other training programs, we go really in depth of that. But if you look at the market and look at what people are buying and what associations are hiring for, you can find what your hot topic is. If you want the ultimate way to uncover your hot topic, and you ask any person that's ever done a private strategy session with me, I will help you. I will help you figure out what is a sellable topic. Many times it's not what you originally thought. I just got off a coaching call with one of my clients today, and his topic, he's already written a book on it. And I told him today, I said, he shared with me that there's about 200,000 people a year in the particular market that he wrote his book on, and I think he's on this call. But Ed, if you are, this is you. And he shared with me there's 200,000 people or so a year in this market. And then he turned around and told me there was a little slightly broader market, and it was kind of in passing. And he said there's somewhere between 15 and 30 million people a year in this particular part of the market. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. There's your market. It's not that narrow niche. You could stay with that and do some stuff there, but I will help you uncover where your market is. Number two, you need to write a speech that people will pay to hear. Okay? It's not just about putting together an outline and getting up and giving a speech. You want to be a world-class speaker? Learn how to draw out your own material. Learn how to create your own content. Learn how to position yourself uniquely so that you're not a leadership speaker. You're not a customer service speaker. You're not a sales speaker. You're not a personal development speaker. You are you. And you have your own unique positioning and topic and focus. And that is when you hit that world-class level, that's when people will hire you. Number three, your marketing tools. There are some basic pieces, including your video, your one sheet, and your basic pricing structure that you need. And there's a whole lot of other things that can go into a promo pack, but you need at minimum these items before you do your blitz. I'll show you how to do them, and I can teach you how to get it done for free or very inexpensively, but you need to take action. Excuse me. You need some speaking gigs under your belt. People say, well, JP, if I'm making this commitment to do this blitz between January 5th and January 14th, how can I do that? I can show you. In fact, I teach it in Speaker 101 home study course, which is not what I'm selling, by the way, but it's a $500 home study course for speaking business that teaches you how to get booked locally. I did this, I eat my own dog food. I do what I tell people to do. And recently we were trying to do a promotion on a local basis, and I sat down for a couple of hours and sent some emails out and made some contacts with some people, and I'll give you all those templates and stuff if you want them. But I got booked. I got some local bookings. So you can go and get booked. You just need some gigs under your belt. You don't need to go and go to Broadway for your first play, all right? You don't need to hit the big screen for your first movie. There is a reason why even comedians like Jay Leno and all those guys will go to the comedy clubs and work out their new material, because they know that you don't do your stuff for the first time on the big stage. Next, your blitz campaign needs to be planned out with all of the background materials ready to go. You need every single step. You need the pieces in place. There's a letter for an approach. There is a form for asking questions. There are talking points. You need to do the research to understand their industry in advance and get all of that ready. Next, clearly defined set of questions and talking points. You're going to get in there and you're going to be face-to-face with these people, and you're going to ask them questions. If you remember, I told you, one of those magic phrases is, what is the next meeting for which you have not already booked your speaker? But you need to be prepared to ask the right questions and get the right information. Now, if you have those pieces in place, are you ready? Here's 4 things to ask yourself. Number 1, do you have a topic or area of expertise that you're passionate about and you just can't wait to teach others about it? I have a philosophy I live by that says never ever compete against someone who gets up in the morning and does what they do for fun, because you'll lose every time. So you need to be passionate about your topic. Number 2, you need to have a depth of experience and a depth of knowledge in your topic area. That means you need to have experienced some stuff and you need to have learned some stuff. Number 3, you're willing to follow a proven system or formula for building a successful and profitable speaking business. Trust me, I can walk you through the process and I can get you there, but I will never push you. through the process. But if you're teachable and you're willing to be mentored, I'll get you there, and you'll go do the blitz and you'll get booked to speak. Finally, you're willing to do nearly anything that's legal, moral, and ethical to build your business. You're willing to do nearly anything that's legal, moral, and ethical to build your business. I've said this in many different ways, but I finally wrote it down today on a scratch sheet of paper, and as I did, I thought about you tonight, and I thought this would be appropriate for you tonight. Most people will avoid making the decisions necessary to achieve extraordinary success until the pain of continuing as they are exceeds the discomfort of trying something new. Let me tell you what, if you are like I was, and you're hungry and you're teachable and you're ready to do something big in your life, and you're ready to go and break into the association market, you can do it. You can do it. As I said, successful people are those who have formed the habit of doing what failures dislike doing and therefore will not do. Let me give you this very quickly, that if you want the fastest path to success in building a successful speaking income stream of your own, if you want to break into the association market, why don't you just take my systems for selling speaking engagements and model them for your own? That's my recommendation. So with your permission, if you feel that I have given you incredible value, I want to share with you how to take this to the next level. But before I do that, I want to set the framework just a little bit for you to understand where this is all coming from. I started a program called Speaker Formula back in 2006, I guess it was. It's an 8-week intensive program, $10,000 a person. It's $5,000 on the front end and $5,000 out of your results. So I invest half the money in you, the training, and then when you succeed, you pay me the balance, 25% of your sales until the balance is paid off. And it's worked very well. But it's a $10,000 8-week intensive program that's a blend of training and private and group coaching. Works very well. I have an elite inner circle speaker formula program that's $25,000 a year. My goal is always to trade dimes for dollars. So I will never bring someone into either one of those programs that I don't believe can make 10 times, 20 times, 100 times that back by going and building their businesses. I'm not selling these programs tonight and because they're by application only. But I just want you to understand where this all started. In the past, you had to spend these kinds of dollars to learn the speaking business. Then I had some people that came to me and said, JP, is there a way I can get my feet wet, that I can get started in the speaking business, go out and sort of start speaking and understand it better and see if I really want to do this and I can make some money at it. And I created a program called Speaker 101 Home Study Course. And again, I'm not selling that either. But what it was 6 very intensive modules that people could take that, get out and start speaking locally and regionally in their market and either sell whatever product or service that they sell professionally, or I teach you how to create your own products very, very quickly so that you can sell those when you speak. But it's a great way to get started and get those gigs under your belt. Well, as I have talked to more and more speakers and wannabe speakers, people say, and you know, they'll hear through the grapevine or we'll talk about stuff and they'll hear that I speak a lot in the association industry, and I've never been shy about saying that it's the best, fastest place to get booked fast and make a lot of money speaking. And so what I decided to do is introduce a program that would allow you to just understand the steps it takes, every single piece of it, to get booked in the association market, exactly how to do a blitz. And in fact, I take you through 15 steps to completing a blitz. Everything step by step, how to start 4 to 6 weeks out, how to set your date, how to block out your times. I give you a copy of the pre-call letter that I send in advance to introduce myself. I give you a script of what to say on the phone. And I mean, it is literally 15 steps all the way through the process of following up afterwards. And that is actually a module within my $10,000 and $25,000 speaker formula coaching programs, is breaking into the association industry. But for people who are interested in just saying, hey, I want to book a blitz, I want to go get some money on the calendar and know that in January I'm getting my first engagements booked, I said, let me create a program that specifically addresses the association industry for those of you that want to get started and get started really quick. So what I've created is a program called the Speaker Quick Start Association Marketing System. And it is not just training, it is a system, because I'm giving you literally my scripts, I'm giving you my letter, pre-call letter that you approach them in advance with. I'm giving you samples of my follow-up cards and what I do after the meetings. I'm giving you my little template form for whenever I book the engagement, how I handle that. I'm giving you when I book the face-to-face meetings, how I manage those appointments, my whole process for using Google Maps to find the people and cluster my meetings together. I tell you the market you need to go after, the city you need to go to meet with 95% of the association executives in your state or a nearby state if your state's not large. If you're international, I'll show you how to apply this internationally. And then I give you all the tools, the blitz letters, how to get the contacts, where to find people, how to follow up, the questions to ask, information gathering forms, everything. And this program alone is easily a $2,000 program all by itself. It is intensive. It's part of a $10,000 course, 8-module course. But I'm not going to introduce it that. I'm going to do a really crazy thing. It's not going to be $497 or $997. What I'm doing is introducing this new program for only $297. And if you know me, you've been around long enough, you know I'm big on bonuses. And I don't pick my bonuses because I just want to add some fluff. I pick my bonuses because I want to give you additional support that will make it really work for you. So when you order this Quick Start training system and all of the pieces that go with it, all the templates and everything, you're going to get the $1997 value of the course, but you're going to pay just $297. You're also going to get an hour of private time with me. I charge $1,000 an hour for private consulting. I do it all the time. I had one guy pay me $3,000 this week already, last week already for private time. I do get paid that for real, okay? But I give you this, and here's why. Because you need to get your topic right and you need to get your speech right. And I can give you some insights on that. When we meet, I will also be talking to you about my more advanced programs if I think you're a match. If you're not a match or you don't have the money for it, it's not a big deal. But we'll talk about that too. And if you're the kind of person that wants to apply for it, you're welcome to apply for it. But during that time, we're going to focus in on getting your topic right, getting your market right, and getting your speech right. So you get the $1997 value of the program. You get the $1,000 hour, so it's $2,997, but you're going to pay just $297 tonight. The next bonus I'm going to give you is, remember I said there was a $497 home study course called Speaker 101? I'm going to give it to you for free. Why am I doing that? Because A, I want you to get out there and get booked to speak really fast. I want you to start doing that quickly. This will help you get your speech right. It'll talk about getting your one sheet together, talk about getting a video done very inexpensively or free, getting those basic materials, those core materials. The Quick Start training program is specifically about marketing to associations. So I don't cover all that stuff in this program. So I'm going to give you Speaker 101 to fill in all the blanks of the materials you need and the templated system of how to go get booked locally and get some gigs under your belt, and how to create product really quick so that you can start selling it at your speaking engagements. So you're going to get the $1997 value of the program. You're going to get a $1,000 private hour with me. You're going to get $497 Speaker 101, and all of that, instead of paying $3,494, you're just going to pay $297. The next bonus I'm going to give you is I'm going to teach you how to pitch, promote, and sell your products from the platform. Okay? Listen, there is an art to this. I struggled with it. There's a way to do it and there's a way not to do it. You need to learn how to do it. You need to learn how to do it confidently so that you can make money. People say, well, when I get famous, then I'll create products. No. You create products, and that way you can support yourself selling product, and your products will make you famous. Get this, the more people that have your products, the more famous you will become. It's a $197 program. You get a total of $3,691 of stuff that's specifically designed to help you get started in the speaking business, and you're going to get it all for just $297. And then one final bonus you're going to get is my fast product formula info product creation system. This is an intensive 10 module course on creating info products and selling them. The reason I'm doing this is because I want you to get a product done very quickly that you can sell from the stage and that you can private label or that you can market when you go and speak in the association industry. So I'm going to teach you this stuff through the fast product formula so that you'll convert your knowledge, experience, and expertise into an info product really, really quickly. So let me summarize real quick. You get the 1997 Quick Start training system with all of the templates and everything that goes with it, the letters and the follow-up forms and everything. You get an hour of private coaching, $1,000. You get Speaker 101, $497. You get How to Pitch, Promote, and Sell Your Products from the Platform, $197 value. And you get the Fast Product Formula Training, $297 value, a total value of $3,988. Tonight you pay just $297. But I'm going to do that. I've never introduced this program before. I'm going to do something crazy. And if you will order now, I will give it to you for just $197. And it's, okay, here's the deal. If you cannot go out and even speak locally and make $197, come on. If you can't go and do a blitz and get booked in an association and feel like you got your $197 worth, come on. Okay? So this is intense. In the past, you would have paid $10,000 or $25,000 for this same knowledge to be able to learn how to get booked in the association industry. I'm going to give it all to you for $197 with all these bonuses. So let me put up a summary page here real quick and give you an order link that you can go and order, and then I'm going to open it up and allow you to yeah, and Gerard, I thought about that and of what I could do for people. So I'm going to answer your question, Gerard, so hang tight. What I want you to do is go to speaker101.com/SFA, which is Speaking for Associations, and that should forward you over to an offer page, and you'll see the same summary little screen, and then you'll see a buy link, and you just click through on that link, put your $197 in. You can use credit card or PayPal, and you'll be able to place your order right now. So I want you to do that and then come back, and if you have questions, ask the questions. If you have any trouble with your order, you can send an email to supportdesk@marocom.com. Okay, Gerard, let me answer your question. Gerard says, is there a discount for those who just bought? Now, Gerard, you said Fast Product Formula with Speaker 101. Are you also, I think what you mean is Coaching Cash Cow, because you said Jason Flavin. You talking about Coaching Cash Cow? Okay, yeah, Gerard. Here's what I'm going to do. I have some other programs, and I've already thought about this ahead in advance. And for those of you that just invested in Coaching Cash Cow, I will make up with an additional product that you're going to love. Okay, so just buy this program, and I promise you will not be disappointed. David, good question. Well, let me first clear Gerard's thing here. Let's see here. David says, does any of this overlap with your Coaching Cash Cow program? Here's the deal, David. Coaching Cash Cow, it's not an overlap. It is it's complementary, because even as you guys remember, if you were on that webinar, I teach you how to go out and sell coaching when you speak, how to tie that all together. So I definitely put the two pieces together. The only overlap is that you're also getting an hour with me, but that's okay. We're going to deal with two different things. The hour you got with me with Coaching Cash Cow, yeah, it is, and I'll give you a link to that, Lee, if you want. Put your email address in. But anyway, the Coaching Cash Cow program is very complimentary, and then the speaker program will get you out and get you in front of the audiences so you can fill your funnel to sell the coaching. But that's the only thing. And when we do the 1-hour private strategy session for the Coaching Cash Cow, we're going to deal specifically with coaching. When we do the one for the Quick Start Speaking, we're going to specifically deal with your speaking business. Okay? Does that answer your question, David? I do look forward to having you. Okay, cool. All right. But yeah, go ahead and order this program. And it's a deal. I mean, guys, it really is. Just I would have gladly paid this. I gladly paid 10 times this just to get the support materials that I'm going to give you with this. Let's see here. Any other questions? Okay, Howard says, ordered. Thank you. Good. Glad to have you in the program. Warwick, good question. I have clients that have taken the information exactly as I teach it and applied it in the Asian markets and European markets. So yes, and in your 1 hour private strategy session that you're going to get with this, remind me and we will deal with that specifically, the application to that, because there are some very specific adaptions that you'll want to make in doing this internationally. Well, I say internationally. The Canada is almost identical. But when you're talking about some of the European markets and some of the Asian markets, there are some special applications. So Warwick, yes, buy the program, but yes, whenever we do the private strategy session together, remind me of the fact that you're working with Asian markets. Okay. Lee, yes, I'll get you that link in just a moment. Let's see here. Lowell says, I didn't get here until 5 p.m. PST due to the offline conflicts. Is there a No, Lowell, yeah, is there a replay? Yes, there's a replay. We're going to put up a replay of this, and you'll have a few days to watch that. Guys, I'm really excited about this program. This gives you such a chance to make this happen in your business. So I'm going to leave it up for a few days, try to educate as many people, and I really hope you'll share it with your speaker buddies who are also interested in getting booked in the association industry. So, Lowell, yes, there will be a replay. And then Husan says, missed the first 25 minutes. Give a summary recap of what the Speaker Blitz. Okay, the Speaker Blitz is nothing more than going out and meeting face-to-face with association executives so that you bypass the annoyance and the desperation of sitting home trying to get booked from the house. It doesn't work, number one, and it bugs the crap out of association executives, so it doesn't help anyone. I teach you in this system. This is the Fast Start Association Marketing System that I'm going to teach you everything step by step. It's a 15-step process. I'm going to give you all the tools to go get booked and meet face-to-face with association executives in your local state or in a nearby state, okay? So, yep, Hussein, and I know who you are, I think, because I think you bought some of my stuff before, but definitely grab this program and you won't be disappointed. Okay, let's see here. Just getting started with you. Would you recommend this course of the Coaching Cash Cow? I think you meant, or the Coaching Cash Cow first, Stephen. I don't mean this egotistically, Stephen, or like self-servingly. I would do both, okay? If you can't afford both, I mean, if you just can't afford both, then start with the speaking program if you want to go get booked. If you already have a funnel in place for coaching students. But Stephen, I would highly, highly recommend that you do both programs, the Coaching Cash Cow and the speaking, because they feed each other. In other words, you'll go get booked to speak, you'll fill your funnel, and then on the back end you'll offer them free private strategy sessions. You'll close them into coaching. It's a perfect match made in heaven. And between the two programs, if you're talking about buying on Jason's offer that we did this week, you're talking about less than $400 for both programs, which is pretty insane. And about almost $7,000 or $8,000 worth of bonuses and private coaching. I literally, and I can take you guys into my PayPal account. I have, the payments for this last week for $3,000 from one of my clients for the private coaching. I get it. It's not every week, but pretty regular, $1,000 an hour. So I hope you guys really do take advantage of and value that private hour you're going to get with me. We can do a lot in that hour. Okay, one of your points was have some speeches under your belt. Would you recommend this for someone who hasn't spoken in front of a large group? It's not the size of the group, Stephen. It's having your content worked on. I would first, and I'll teach you how to do this. I do it in my living room or my kitchen first, then you take it to a smaller audience, and I can, in Speaker 101, that'll teach you exactly how to go get booked very, very quick. And then by the time January rolls around, you'll have some speaking engagements under your belt. I also teach you how to use teleseminars and webinars to get some of the speaking and the content under your belt, so that's another good way to work it out really quick. Again, the link is speaker101.com /SFA, speaker101.com /SFA, and you may have to put the / behind it. Let me put this in the chat window, and I'm going to continue answering questions. And thank you all you guys who are voting with your dollars. It means a lot. I don't take it lightly. I honestly don't. Let's see here. http://www.speaker101.com /SFA/. Okay, you guys should have the link right there. Hey, Robert was on the call, and he's the one that okay, here. Okay, I want to read this. I wish I could just share this with you guys. In fact, I can. Give me just a second. Can I share that, Robert, so that they don't think that I'm full of baloney? Is that okay? Do you mind? Okay, Robert. Robert is my client that literally this week spent $3,000 for 3 hours of private time with me, and I want you guys just to see this just real quick. And I can only think of one way to do this. Let's see here. Capture, and then you mind it? I'm just going to show your last name too, Robert, if you get upset about that. Okay, I'm going to zoom in on this, guys. Okay, here's right here in the window. Robert is saying, and Robert's a expat in Mexico, has written an amazing book on retiring rich in Mexico. Very cool, and we'll tell you more about his book later. But he said, hey, JP, thanks for your help with my 400-page book was uploaded to Amazon today, and for your one-on-one coaching made a huge difference in my approach. The result is a bargain at $1,000 an hour. Thanks, Rob in Mexico. I just want you guys to know, A, I'm not full of baloney. We really do charge that. And B, the value for that time is over the top incredible. So just get in on this. Okay, let's see here. Does this work in Australia? Absolutely. It works in Australia, Helen. Get on board. In fact, the market there is ripe, and there is a micron of speakers in the U.S. that even know this. I haven't taught this openly other than in my $10,000 and $25,000 high-end mentoring program. Cecile says, just signed up. Looking forward to it. Welcome to the program, Cecile. We will definitely look forward to doing our one-on-one together and teaching you this stuff. You're going to love it. But yeah, Helen, get the program. It works in Australia, and you can rock it out in Australia. You can be one of our marquee speakers over there. Let's see here. Leslie says, I am confused. I thought that this call was to learn something, not get pitched on another program. Leslie, if and I'm just being real transparent with everybody by reading that out loud. If you feel like you didn't learn anything new, then I applaud you for having already known everything that I taught tonight. But let me tell you what, you needed to know what I taught you tonight, A, about the association industry, and you needed to know that you don't sit at home and send out marketing packets. If you've ever done that, you need to stop. And if you haven't done that, I just saved you thousands of hours and thousands of dollars in pain and frustration of going down that path. And I hope that we can part friends and that you'll come back to another workshop, because I've certainly poured my heart into giving you as much information as I could in the time that we had. Helen, yes, thank you. Do you cover how to get booked with corporations also? Oh, Hussein says that. Not in this program. This program is specifically on getting booked with, okay, David's, he's leaving. If he has problems with downloads, he'll email me, but David's in the program. Okay, good. Howard says, I've already booked speaking gigs and I've learned good stuff tonight. Well, congratulations, Howard. And Howard did buy, so I appreciate that. Gerard, is the association portion of this being sent later? Yes, we're teaching it live. I'm sorry that I did not make that clear. We'll be teaching the program live, and I'll send you guys the schedule for the association. It's a brand new program. I've had lots of people asking about the association market, so you'll get Speaker 101 right now. Oh, by the way, I didn't even tell you all the bonuses that come with Speaker 101, and you get instant access to that, so good for you. But yeah, Gerard, I'll send you out I'll get it out tonight with the schedule for the live training. Is the webinar available to watch again? Yes, Helen, I'm going to put, as soon as I get off, my video guy will take over and put this up on the, up for a replay tomorrow, and we'll get you out a note. We had either over or right at 500 people registered for tonight's workshop, and we had almost 200 on the workshop, so that was great. We'll get everybody else out the replay link, and you'll get to watch it too. Let's see here. I want to start with one program, work in business consulting and marketing for small business. Which program do you recommend I start with? Steve, I tell you what, if you're already doing consulting, Steve, are you already doing consulting? You said you're doing consulting and marketing for small, mid-sized companies. Can you answer me real quick back in the window? Okay. Do this program. Do this program first, and then get yourself ready and get booked, and then you can worry about adding on the coaching. If you already have, because the coaching will enhance what you're already doing with consulting, but this will be a whole new world for you in terms of getting out there and getting booked. Let's see here. Yes, Arlene, we are. Oh, guys, I didn't even tell you. We have, and I'll send you guys a note about this. I teach you complete in the association program. I'm going to teach you how to go out and research and find the associations. So I teach you online. There's some places you can find them and put the list together. There's some books you can get to, and there's a subscription site that you can get to, and I'll expose you to all of that, because Arlene was saying, can you help us select the associations to approach? Absolutely, and I'll give you the criteria based on your topic, based on your target market. Who are the 5, 10, 12, 15, 20, 50 associations you should be approaching? So yes, great question, and I apologize for not making that clear. No, Hussein, and you missed it really, brother. On January 15th January 5th through the 14th, I told everybody to get out their calendar and write down and make a commitment to themselves that they would do their first speaker blitz within that date period of time. The reason I do that is because writing crystallizes thought, and thought motivates action. You need to take action. So I want you to write down, and everyone on here that's on this workshop still, and we still have well over half of the people on here, I want you to write down, I will do my first speaker blitz between January 5th and January 14th, 2011. So help me, JP. But write it down, and then go buy this program, and then I want you to get on board with us, because this program will teach you everything you need to know to complete that blitz between January 5th and January 14th. In other words, I want you to put a line in the sand. I'm from Texas, and in San Antonio we had a thing called the Alamo, and it was Travis, took the sword out and drew a line in the sand and said, "You're with me, step across the sand. If you're not, stay over there and go home." And what I'm saying is, put a line in the sand for yourself and say, January 5th to the 14th, by golly, I'm going to go do a blitz, and I'm going to get booked to speak. I'm going to start making money in this business. The training starts next week, Lisa. The live training starts next week. I think we're going to be able to cover this all in 2 live training sessions, but it starts next week. Okay, Hussein, hope I just cleared something and it moved at the same time. So if I don't answer your question, come back and ask it again. Okay, Leslie says, Leslie, I appreciate this. I was straight with you, you were straight with me, and I appreciate you coming back and saying this. It means a lot to me because my heart is in the right place. Leslie said earlier she didn't know she was going to get just pitched another program, and she says, I am still here. We are still friends. I missed the first 10 minutes. Maybe I missed some content other than what you're selling. Did not mean to be disrespectful. You weren't disrespectful. I was just sad that I disappointed you, and it's never, ever my mission. So go back and listen to the replay. We will put the replay up tomorrow after my video guy gets finished with it. And Leslie, I hope we have you on board, because a lot of times, and I've taught this for years in customer service workshops, a lot of times some of your biggest critics initially, if you do what you say you're going to do, you can turn them around to be your biggest fans. And I hope you become one of my biggest fans, and that we can teach you a lot of good stuff to make money. George says, I have a book, God's Guide to Inner Peace, which I want to do a presentation on. It is a Bible-based. How do I reach out to association with Bible-based presentations? Am I only limited to Christian groups, or can I somehow reach out to other groups? Thank you, George Angel. Great. His name is Angelo, but George Angel, and you speak on Bible stuff. That's Great job there, buddy. Good branding. Do you own GeorgeAngelo.com or just George Angelo? I'd love to know that. And Ron, I'll answer your question in just a minute. But here's the deal, George. Yes, there are groups out there that are non-biblical, but I may have to teach you how to broaden that a little bit. So that's the only reason I offered this one-on-one private strategy session with you. By the way, George, I would go by GeorgeAngel.com if it's available, not just Angels Here to Help. That's kind of hard. Go by GeorgeAngel.com if it's. I'm serious, tonight if it's available. But anyway. Yes, there are other audiences you can take those biblical principles to, but it's not just like, quote, Christian Bible-based organizations. There's a lot of other groups, and definitely bring that up in our private strategy session, and I'll help you sort of point that out to some other groups that you can go to. Ron Thiessen is in a group. He's one of my high-end coaching clients, and Ron was participating in a directory of associations, and I'm going to tell you guys about that directory when we do the live training. But yes, Ron, it'd be exactly helpful. Oh, it's Marie's. I'm sorry, Mary's. It's his wife that's actually logged in as him. She attends these and gives feedback to Ron. So hi to both of you guys in Canada. But yes, you'll be able to use the directory information, and this will tie into that very closely. So definitely grab this training, and then I'll show you how to use it. I'm going to be telling the members of this training about the directory and how they can access it. There are plenty of other ways to get the association list. It just happens to be a little bit easier by going through the subscription system. Okay, I'm going to read it out loud. Leslie says, you will have me on board, and P.S. you have a great voice, sound just like Dr. Phil. I'll take that as a compliment. Okay, I'm done. Seriously, thank you. All right, good night, and have a great evening, and hopefully we'll see you in the training. Who's saying the program speak for free? No, these are fee-paid engagements. I'll teach you how to do both fee-free and how to make up the fee by getting people to sponsor your presentations too, so that you don't have to always have the fee. Yeah, who's saying I'll see you in the program? I think those questions are deep, and they're good for our one-on-one. Okay, let's see. Training starts next week. That answered Lisa. The live training for the association part. Let's see. Trying to make sure I get all the questions. If you guys, yeah, thank you. All you guys that are buying, congratulations, and I will see you in the training. Share with us about your coaching program. Can we add this onto the purchase tonight? Tony, if you're going to be, Tony, are you still on the call? It shows you to still be live. Tony, if you're still here, okay. Do you mind if I call you when I get off the workshop, and we'll clarify that? Tony's wanting to buy another program tonight as well. Okay. I will. I'll get a link for you guys. I just don't have it right here. I'll send out a link for those of you that want to get coaching cash cow as well. I'll just send out a link. There's no pressure to buy, but I had a lot of people asking for it. So, yes, Jim, I'm doing a replay. My video guy. We'll have it ready probably about 5, 6 in the morning, and by the time I get back up in the morning, we'll be ready to mail out a replay link. Okay? So, Tony, yes, I will call you after I get off. Bruce, I haven't decided. Bruce says, how long do I have to order the program? If you notice, I didn't put a deadline on the page, and honestly, I put this together because a lot of people have been asking about it. I just haven't decided, but I'll give you a warning. But here's what I'd say. Get the program sometime in the next couple of days so that you can start studying Speaker 101, because it'll make a whole lot more sense for you whenever we start the live training next week. And by the way, all the live training will be uploaded into a members area as well. Yes, it'll be up. That Carl just asked that same question. Yes, it'll be recorded, and it's webinar format, just like what you attended tonight. Yeah, Tony, the download stuff is there's a lot of stuff already there, Speaker 101 and all that, and there's a bunch of what am I trying to say, bonuses that go with Speaker 101, so you can be cool about that and enjoy those. And then I'll get you guys a link out to the registration for the live training webinars for this new association training. But we're going to do them in a webinar format. Let's see here. Must I download all the stuff now? No. No, 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 no. I'll give you the links and repeat the links and all that. And in fact, my assistant is right now putting up some new members areas for us for some of our training, and we'll stick all of this stuff inside of there. You'll have your own password and everything. Yeah, a couple of days is okay. I'm just away from my cards and need to get home. Okay, Bruce. Yeah, just well, you can order it in the next couple of days. Just get it done. I'm not like one hit wonder. You guys know I've been around a long time and I'll be around a long time. That's one thing Jason Fladlin said on his thing. And he said on his workshop last Thursday, when he was painting houses for $12 an hour, I was already, big six-figure income earner and teaching people how to multiply their businesses, and I'm still here doing it. It's 6 years later, so yeah, I'll be here. Howard says, was I first? I don't know, Howard. I don't know. I will look up, and if that means something to you, I'll tell you later. Bruce is over and out. Nice to have you. Yeah, I'll substitute something nice for you. Again, for people that just bought one of my programs like Coaching Cash Cow or whatever, and Hussein, this applies to you. I'll get you something really nice, and so you'll be well cared for. What's the minimum you need? Oh, Katie Kelly, good to have you on. We need to talk ASAP. Pronto mio. Okay. Let's see here. What is the Katie Kelly's one of my coaching clients and students in other programs, and she's also in our Send Out Cards team. Okay, let's see here. All right. Yeah, especially if you're on a treadmill, Howard. Howard is he's not walking tonight, he said, but Howard has a treadmill desk, so he walks on a treadmill while he works and attends workshops and stuff. What's the minimum you need to have in place in terms of a product to get started? Nothing right now. I will show you how to create product in Speaker 101, and we'll talk a little bit about it in the association training, but then when you go to the Fast Product Formula training, everything you'll need to know, Arlene, about getting your product created. I'm going to tell you, that Fast Product Formula training is a $2,000 product by itself. I said $297 because I'm selling it for that right now, but I'm launching it after the first of the year. Once it's all built and developed, I'm launching it to other people's list for $2,000 and paying my JV partners $1,000 a head to sell it. So you're getting incredible value, and I'll teach you exactly what you need to know to create your own info products fast. Gerard, how do we let you know about the CCC? Yeah, send an email to support desk at marocom.com. That's the email address that's at the bottom of the green screen right in front of you, the green deal, Gerard, and we'll deal with you. Yes, the links will be emailed to you. It is great from the webinar on Fast. Oh, yeah, Katie's been in Fast Product Formula, and she says it's great training. Yes, links will be emailed to you. What does Gina say? She said, oh, JP, I've literally been hurling with the flu during this call, but I just signed up. Even sick, I know it's a good deal. Look forward to it. Please tell me there are leaders to talk to in Nashville, Huntsville, and Chattanooga, each 75 minutes from you. Absolutely, Gina. You're going to love it. And in fact, Nashville is a big convention industry, and I'll teach you guys. Y'all remind me if I don't do this, okay? This will be on the recording. So somebody send me an email right now to support. It'll get to my assistant, but say, forward this to JP. Send an email to supportdesk@marocom.com and say, JP wanted to remember this, to teach how to do reverse destination speaking. In other words, with a hot market like Nashville, Gina, where there's a lot of associations having meetings there, there's a reverse technique I can teach you to approach the associations that are coming to that market, and you can save them money on travel and a lot of other things. So anyway, remind me, and I'll teach you guys that in the live training. It's a great technique. Yes, the live training, Carl, will be recorded and put up in the members area. Yeah, I'm trying to answer all your questions. Lost the download page after I bought. Well, Tony, you're out of luck. You don't get a second chance. No, we'll email you everything. You're in the loop. The live training dates and times, yes, they will be announced first thing in the morning. Yeah, Gina, you're going to love that. It is very sweet. That is a very cool thing. Will you cover a little bit about speakers bureaus? Hussein, dude, I won't. And the reason I won't is because, yeah, there are a few associations that use speakers bureaus for their ultra high-end keynote speakers, but that's not what this is about. And I promise, if you need this association training to teach you how to go get booked fast, you probably are not the right person for the speakers bureau yet. If you're interested in a conversation about speakers bureaus, we can have a little conversation about that on our one-on-one. How about that? Let's just do that. Tom says, great discussion. Missed some, but heard yours with Jason Fladlin the other day. Look forward to the replay of this, I hope. Yes, we will have the replay up tomorrow. And will Speaker 101 give me a framework to design a speaking platform for the real estate associations, or do I need something else as well? Robert, go ahead and study it and see what you think. But when we do another one-on-one with you, let's talk about that. I know you're going to do the coaching program with me when you get back from from Asia, but we'll talk about it. I want to know a little bit more before I answer that question. Yeah, Tony says to say thanks for Steve if he's on your call tonight. Okay. Yeah. Hi, Steve. Okay. Download page comes up as one of the emails when you sign up. Came immediately. Cool. Live trainings will be announced by tomorrow morning, maybe before. Yes, the association training is connected. It is the offer, and then all the rest of it is bonuses. The quick start training is how to get started and booked fast for the associations. It is the blitz process. So again, and Tony, I will call you in just a moment. Give me a chance to get off this call. My family's texting me. They've been out. In fact, let me text them and tell them that I'm still answering some questions for you guys. Okay. Yep. Tim Tap, good. Wow, a lot of info to absorb. Will it be emailed to us so we have a chance to see it again? Yes, John, you will. You've spoken for larger groups and associations, but not in a while. Good info to get back in the game. It sure is, John, and I look forward to having you in the training program. But, yeah, watch the replay and get your order in. Okay, Tony, we'll talk tomorrow. That's perfectly fine. I just got to save it. Tony, why don't you send me your name and email address through Mary and John at the support desk. Send that to supportdesk@marocom.com. It's on the screen in front of you. Send me your name and phone number, and I'll buzz you tomorrow when I have a few moments between calls. Jim, happy Thanksgiving to you. Those of you that are in the U.S., happy Turkey Day. Waiting for, yeah, okay. Yeah, Bruce, you can get your order in the next couple of days. Hussein, I will show you where to go get association contacts, and I'll also tell you about a subscription-based program that you can participate in. It's totally at your option. You don't have to have that to get the list of associations, but I will show you the subscription because I use it. I pay for it, and we get some people together to do that together. Okay. Lee, I will get you the link. Send an email to supportdesk@marocom.com. and I'll get you a link. Gerard, again, welcome to the program. Happy Thanksgiving. But Lee, get me email, and I will make sure that you get the link to buy Coaching Cash Cow tonight as well. And I'll send it out. I'll try to remember to send it out. I just hate to mix offers and stuff and people to get turned around. Guys, if there's no more questions, I'm beat. I've given you my heart and soul, and there's still 60 of you on this workshop. Hanging around. So it has been my pleasure. I mean, honestly, my pleasure. I hope you guys know I appreciate you, and it's really exciting to be able to share this with you. Buy the program, speaker101.com/SFA. The link's right in front of you. and we will get started with the live training next week. But I'll send you out an email, and you guys that are already in things like my Coaching Cash Cow, you know that I give you lots and lots of cool surprise bonuses and stuff. So just watch your inbox. It's going to be fun. Good night, and you're welcome, Robert. Thank you so much. Stephen, you'll be buying later tonight? Good. Okay. Give a few days to move money before you can charge the card. Okay, no problem. Hussein, not a problem. Move your money around and buy the program. We will look forward to having you in. This is going to be a great training, so look forward to you guys being on board, and we will talk to you